Starting stream and recording video. Okay, let's just jump into it. Yesterday I finished the chat room using JWT auth. And then this time we're going to change it to use our own JWT auth. Yeah. And then we need to do an authentication. Okay, so that's easy. But to make sure things work, I kind of need to have all the code in here. Or maybe I don't. Just in case I do, though. Let's see. Maybe I don't. I don't think I do. Okay. So let's start with P6. So git checkout problem 6. Make sure I'm in sync with master. Oops. Make sure I'm in sync with master, and I am. Now I can go to Js5 and then problem 4. And then Js5. Okay, so nothing in problem 4 yet. So problem 4. First thing I'm going to do is create an express. Require express. And then I'm gonna create an app. And then now I'm going to use it to listen on port 3057. This is the port I'm using for cerny.com. So app.get for incoming request and response. Going to send back hello. Okay, let's see if this works. So now if I go to cerny.com, error communicating with cerny.com. I think Twitch stream needs some time to catch up. Alright, so error communicating with server that runs cerny.com. So maybe it's not. Let me make sure my port number is correct. Maybe I'm not running it. Oh yeah. When you run your server, you need to make sure you're running your server, be able to send requests to it. So we can. But a better way to do this is to actually have an HTML file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a middleware and then serve all the static files from my current folder. So then I don't need this. And then I can create a file called index.html. My index.html would be a JavaScript, and then it just does alert hello. Cool. Okay, so my website is all set up. Now I can figure out how to do this. So this is pretty simple. Creating a new user. Okay, so we don't need any of what we did yesterday, except for maybe the browser. So this challenge feels a little easier because the browser is just going to send requests to the server. And then, yeah, we just need, and we're going to store everything in the memory. So, and the memory will look like this. We need to make sure that username is unique. So we need the key is username, and then the user information. And we also need email as the key, and then its username. So all of the user information will be stored here and sent back. So that's pretty simple. We're just going to create a new user for now. And to do that, I need to write my test first. So API/session or API/users. So my front end, my browser is going to send, let's create a function called create user, and then user info. So create user is going to send a fetch request with the headers content type. Since there's a dash, I need a string. Application JSON. I think that's all I need. Method is post. Okay, and then body. JSON.stringify. Okay, so JSON.stringify, I need to pass in password, username, and email. Okay. User should be able to pass in any additional key value data pairs in the body. So, okay. Which means we just pass in user info. So users need to be able to call it with the right function argument. So now I have a function called create user. Let's test to make sure our function works. So create user, and then username is Cerny. Email is cerny@vendors.com, and then full name is Cerny Vendors. Goal is free education. Okay, so by running this function, it's sending a request, right? With all of the right arguments. Maybe I forgot password, but so now I have something sending the request. I just need to make sure that app.get, when a request comes in, it's a post. So post. Here's the post. Okay. So when in order, because the post has a body, we need to create a middleware, app.use express.json. This way, yeah, it can read the post request. Okay, and then what it says is password cannot be blank and must be greater than 5 characters. Username cannot be blank. Let's copy these requirements. Const password body. If body doesn't exist, we default with the object. So these three are required, and then if password doesn't exist, or password.length is smaller than or equal to 5 characters, return rest.status 400 error, and then tell them there's an error message. Password be than 5. So imagine these are 4 lines. I don't want to type this over and over again. So the best practice is send user error that takes in the response object message. And what this does is this calls that with error message like this. And then this function would just return send user error with the response object and the message. Cool. Username cannot be blank. So if not username, then or how do we check to see if it contains non-letters and numbers? So I don't know how to do that. I can Google it. String, so JavaScript, string check for alphanumeric only. Best way. Whoa. Just gives it to you right away. And then since 98 people says yeah, that means it's probably good. Let's make sure we can use it correctly. So abc123.match test is the function. JavaScript string check regex. Okay, so the regex and then test the string. So this is called a regex. So this is true, and if I add a bang bang, it becomes false. Or a pound, it's all false. So, okay. So if you guys want to know what this regex means, this means start with, and this is end with, right? And then this square brackets means options, A to Z, 0 to 9. And then 1 or more. So this is A to Z, A to Z, A to Z, 1 to 9, 1 to 9, 1 to 9. So all of this passes the start of the string, end of the string. So this matches. What about capital A? Those work too. Okay. Because I means ignore the case. So now that we have this, so we test the username. So if this fails the test, then send user error. Username cannot be empty for non-alphanumeric. Cool. And then we need an object called users. And then if If the username is already taken, then we also want to send user error is not available. Cool. And then, so we got rid of this check, we got rid of the unique check, and then we need a email, const email map. So we want to see if the email is valid. So if email doesn't exist, or email dot, how do you check to see if a character exists? Let's test that. abc dot includes at false. We put ab at c, true. Okay. So if email doesn't exist, or if it doesn't include the at symbol, then email format is incorrect. Okay. And then email is already taken. So if email map at index email, if the email is already taken, so if it exists, then email exists in our system. Okay, cool. So now we have all of the checks done. The next thing we need to do is to store the password. So we need to protect the user by putting in a good properly protecting their password. And you do that via bcrypt. So bcrypt, what it would do is usage. We need to hash a password. Technique 1, generate a salt and hash on separate function calls 1, 2. Technique 2, auto-gen salt and hash. Yes, definitely this seems a lot easier. So I'm gonna pick that. So salt rounds is how random to make the password. 10, I guess it's a pretty standard one. If you want it to be way more secure, you can change it to 20, but 10 usually is secure enough. So require bcrypt, and then salt rounds, make it 10. Okay. And then it's gonna complain cannot find module bcrypt, so bcrypt. No more bcrypt. We installed bcrypt. Not find express. To install express. Now we can run it. So to use bcrypt, we hash the password. So I'm going to hash the user provided password. And this is the data I actually store in the database. So const user info equals, so I'm going to create a new object with whatever the user pass in, and then I'm going to overwrite the password that they provided with the hash. And then now users at index username equals user info. So I'm going to set that to the user info. And then I'm also going to change the email map equal at index username equals user. Email map at index email. This way we can check to make sure that the email exists. Cool. And then after that, I am going to send back the user object that's been created. res.send JSON user. So for us to check, let's also create a GET request to send back all of the user's information. That way I'll know if everything worked out. It's 3 dots. Cool. So now I'm going to go to my website. Okay. And then I'm going to create a user. The network request says password cannot be less than 5 characters. So the checks are good. Password is free healthcare. And then let's look at the network. 200. Yeah, see my password changed. And then now if I want to try to create the same with the same username and the same email, it should give me an error. Username is not available. This is great. I'm almost done. API/users. So yeah, this is good. So now I'm able to create a user. But the issue is I don't have a JSON web token. So I'm almost done with this, but after I create a user, I need to generate a JSON web token. And to do that, I need to install JSON web token. And then I need to sign the token with a secret. Sign secret password. Okay, this is simple. Cool. How do we? First things first. Let's require JSON web token. So let's require JSON web token and then npm save JSON web token. Okay, now we have the JSON web token. What we want to do is add the token. After I create the password, token equals JWT. Before I do that, I need a password. So system password is going to be Sunny Vendors is wants free education. Okay, so that's our system password. All of the token would be encrypted against this password, so if people don't know this password, they'll have a hard time decrypting the token. Token equals JSON jwt.sign. So I don't need the whole, because I have all the user information here. I don't need the whole thing, so I just need the username. The username, and then the password is system password. And then in the user object, I need to make sure that JSON token JWT is the token. Cool. So now when I create a user, let's clear it. Now when I create a new user, it's in the response, it gives me a JWT token. Cool. So that one worked. We have finished the post creating a new user. Usually when I finish a part, I want to save it. So I'm gonna save. Solves problem 4. Wait, we didn't solve it. Adds ability to create a new user. Okay. Cool. So we created a new user. What's next? Next is create a new session. Log in a user. Okay. It should be pretty simple. To log in a user is app.post. So we're creating a new session object. And when people log in, it's const username password equals request.body, or if it's null, set it to empty string. Cool. So we first grab, actually before I continue, I need to create a login function. Login. And login would send a fetch request, but instead of to API users, it's to sessions. Cool. So I'm only getting the username and password here. So first, I retrieve the user's username. And then if the username doesn't exist, if there is no user, then I return an error saying unverified. Cool. And then now, since we know that there's a user object, we can check password. So let's check the user provided password. Since the password is user provided string, we need to use the bcrypt library to compare password. And I use the compare function. So to compare the password is I want to compare the user provided password with what's in our database, or database. So if result is not true or there is an error, then we send back, ooh, this send user error is wrong. So actually we want to create a new function. Cons send unidentified error. and instead of 400, unidentified is 403. Cool. So this would be send unidentified error. This would be send unidentified error. It doesn't. And if it matches, then we return res.json user object. Cool. So let's check it. Let's check our login function. So since we restarted the server, when I go to users, there should be nobody there. There's nobody. And then I'm going to create an account. And the account matches got created. So now there's an account, right? Now I'm going to try to log in with username Brandon. This should give me an error because, there's no Brandon in the system. There's only like Cerny. So Brandon and then password is 1 2 3 4 5 A B C D E 1 2 3 4 5. This gave me an error saying unverified, right? And it also gives me a 403 status code. So this is good. Let's try to log in. Whoops. Sorry about that. Now let's try to log in as Cerny, but with the wrong password. Also 403. Now for the moment of truth, let's try to log in with Cerny with the right password. 200. Yeah, 200. I logged in. And it gave me the JWT token here. Right, so this is good. Our login functionality is done. So the next one is get the currently logged in user. I must accept a JSON web token. So with cookies, it's a little tricky. Sometimes cookie doesn't work across domains. The best way to avoid that problem, we now use a JSON web token in the header field. So I guess that's the reason why they are telling us to do it this way. And to do that, we call the decode functionality, right? So let's try it. Before I do that, let me save my code. So adds login functionality for challenge 4. Okay. So now we have a login functionality, and now we need to check the user status. So const token equals rec.headers dot authorization or empty string. Sometimes it might be empty string. And then I need to split by bearer or dot replace. It with empty string. So removing it. And then let's just return res.json token. Okay. This is just for me to quickly test to make sure I'm sending in the authorization header correctly. And for me to test, I need to create that get status function. Get status token headers authorization bearer is token. Okay, So since bearer is always prefixed, bearer is who's I'm the owner of the token. That's what it means, I think. And then there is no body. Cool. So let's see. Get status function. Let's see if this works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create an account, because every time I restart the server, my account goes away. So now if I refresh the account, I have this JWT token. Right, so now fetch. Oh, get. What is the function called? It's called get status. Let's go to the get status function. Get status, and then the token is the string. The network. Oh no, didn't work. Good thing we tested this out, because I think rec.get. Let's see if this works. So since my server restarted, my data is gone. I need to create a user first, get this token, and then I want to get the status with that token. And then I want to see if the server, yes, the server got the token. So now once the server gets the token, I think looking at the documentation, how do we decrypt the token? And decrypt the token, it is sign. So here's the JSON web token library. Verify. So let's verify this. So I'm going to verify the token that I got from the header, and then I need to pass in my server password, which is, what did I call it? System password. System password, okay. So if there is an error, or decoded is null, or decoded does not have a username. So if you look at our JWT sign function, we're signing it with the username, right? There's a username key. So we expect when we decode it, it also has a username key. So if it has none of this, then that means we need to send back saying unverified. Otherwise, we send back saying we send back users at index decoded.usename. Okay, so here it is. Here's how you get the currently logged in user. Let's see if that works. Once again, since our server restarted, we need to create a server first. Let's check out the JSON web token that gets created. And then now I'm gonna try to get the status. with this token, and I got 200. I got back my own information, right? So whenever a system needs to log in, they can just send us a token, and then we would send them all the user's information. If they gave us a bad token, like say this token is not good, the network would give us unverified, right? So now you can build application not just for the browser, but like the way code.com does its submissions is that if you just had like, if I created a new file, like let's say cli.js, right? So if I created a new file, const fetch equals require node fetch API sessions headers authorization error. So here I'm no longer in the browser. It's just another. So here's just a JavaScript. I'm not in a browser. And then if I run it, node CLI, let's install node fetch so we can fetch it. And then we just run CLI. Oops. The terminal doesn't know where to send the request to. So that's why we need a URL. Tell it where to send the request to. And oh, there's an error. I think it's because every time I save, oh, not find module express. What is going on? I don't want my server to restart. I'll find module JSON web token. Thought I installed it. I don't know what happened. My theory is every time I install a module without save, it changes the package JSON. Oh, it's weird. But it seems like my server is starting up. I need to create a new user. So right now, since it's a new server, I have no users. Create a user, the user is there, get the JSON web token, and then make sure that it works on the browser, and it does. And then I'm gonna make sure that it works on the terminal. And it works on the terminal. So data console.log welcome at welcome data.fullname. So I'm not even in a browser at this point. I'm just on a random computer, and then when I run this, it knows who I am. And it's all because of the JSON web token. So I am done. I don't need CLI I also don't need index.html. I was using those to test. And then don't want to commit package log.json. It'll make my code hard to review. So is it problem 4? It's actually problem 6. That. Okay, so the change is renamed 4 to 6. So git commit -m solves problem 6 and renames 4.js to 6.js. So what might be confusing for other people who's looking at the commits is that if I look at my previous commits, it says add login functionality for challenge 4. I want to change this. So I'm going to rebase. Rebase pretty much means that I'm going to change the previous 5 commits. Maybe 3 commits. Actually, don't know how to use this text editor, so I'm not going to do that. Code, submit, and I'm done. Js5 Problem 6. Awesome. So just my server stuff is passed in, and now it's waiting for review. Next is image text extraction. So git checkout E7. Make sure I'm in sync with master. Okay, let's look at how this works. Well, this one I need to be able to upload files. Okay. And then after you successfully uploaded the file, you need to pass each file into the Tesseract library for text analysis. What? API job ID. Okay. So let's take a picture of this text here. Maybe that might be too complicated. Take a look at this. So I'm gonna take a screenshot. Let's go to the demo. Drag files here. So I'm gonna drag my file, the screenshot I took, drag it here. And here's the job ID on it. And it has an error. That's lame. Okay, so I'm going to guess that it would say it's currently running, and then it would process it. So let's see. Browser. I'm going to upload files. Cool. And then the server, it will create a job. So server would then create a job ID and then send back a response. And what does it mean to run a job? And then basically, this job ID is just going to be an object where it's going to be the job ID, and then here's the data. Cool. So this server is going to be running something else like Tesseract. I'm guessing image recognition. Like, I mean, if you take an image and you need to recognize a bunch of stuff, it will take time. So Tesseract does the image recognition. And then, so initially the job ID will be false. So it will say nothing is going on because it's processing. And then when the image recognition is done and it finishes all the data, it would send the information back. It will update the job ID. So one of the job ID 1 is false, and then job ID 2 would have an array of image, text, image, text, etc. All the image the users uploaded. Okay, that makes sense to me. Now I need to know how to do the image extraction. But the server seems like it's down. So I need to Google how to do drag and drop. Drag and drop API. Cool. Drag and drop. Alright, so this might seem like I'll need some HTML to drag and drop, and then I need some JavaScript to show the job. So this one might seem a little more complicated. So I'm going to be using creating a folder. Challenge 5. So I'm gonna need a server.js file, then public folder, and then within a public folder there's index.html. So first thing I'm going to do is fire the express library, and then run express. I need the middleware. Everything in public folder should be accessible. My port is 3057. Cool. And then here I'm going to go to challenge 5, run server.js. Cool. So now my setup is done. First thing I'm going to build is to be able to drag and drop. So I'm going to build this part, browser, and then upload files. Okay, so drag and drop is going to be index.html. T. Need a div that says drag files here. Maybe h1 tag. So container is going to be position fixed, top 0, left 0, bottom 0, right 0, top right, bottom left. background color, let's give it a little bit of gray. And then margin, maybe 10 pixels. Okay, let's see how this looks. Drag files here. This looks pretty good, right? And then I'm gonna make this text align center. It's not as good as the demo, but I think it's good enough. Now, when I drag files into it, so that's when JavaScript comes in. So script const container dot on add event listener drag start console.log. Oh, I don't know if it's drag start. I think it is. I'm going to refresh and see if anything works. So I'm gonna drag a file in here. Nothing's happening. So I was wrong. Let's look here. Drag start. Maybe I need to set draggable to true. Oh, draggable to true is just an element. Maybe it's drag over. Let's see if it's drag over. We don't need this anymore. Need this anymore. Okay. Drag over. Yeah. Nice. This is going. That's good. So when I drop it, I need to undrop. I need to get files, but I don't know what file it is. So JavaScript drag drop files. Undrop. I need to do this, and then there's an array of files. Okay. So on drag over, I want container dot class list dot add selected. Let go of the mouse to load the files. Then when it's selected, the background color is going to be green. So it's RGB. Okay, so let's see if my front end works. Going to drag here. Inner text is not a function. Let go of the mouse to upload the files. Cool. So once we upload the files, so on drag, I think it's on drop event, we can get the files. So container.drop. This would be event e dot we need this because the default is when you drop, it would actually, the browser will open the file. So if I drop here, this is the default. The browser will open up the file. We don't want the default. So that's why we need to run e.prevent default. That makes sense. So then if we have this, then we drop. Oh, there's still the default. So I don't know what's going on. Let's try it. Nope, doesn't work. Oh, we also need to stop propagation maybe. So both. Stop the propagation. Still there. Drag and drop. Undrop. Oh, I need a false at the back. So maybe add a false here. It's a lot of things to do. Oh, it still doesn't work. Drag and drop is difficult. Don't want it to show. File select. Drag, drop, JavaScript, default, opening, image. We don't want it to do that. Let's see if any other person is having the same problem. This person is prevent default on drag and drop. Drag over was the piece I was missing. So they need the drag over. Let's see. Window, drag over, and then prevent the default. Let's see. Nice. Now we can drag as many times we want, and it wouldn't have an issue. Cool. So now after I drop, I'm going to remove. I'm going to do the reverse of this, which is remove the selected class and drag files here. Okay. Boom. 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 Alright, that's good. So now we need to get the list of files. And what they said to do was here. We get files from here. e.datatransfer.files. So const files equals e.datatransfer.files. Here's an array of files. Now, how do we upload files? JavaScript upload files. Pure.js, we want that. So I need to create a form data, update, and then fetch. Does that work? Let's see. So append files for each console.log f. So let's look at all of the files before we decide what to do. So I'm gonna upload 2 files. Files for each is not a function. So let's see if we can convert this to an array. That is a way I know how to convert to an array. Let's try uploading files. Yeah, so we have the name. Okay, and the type. It's good. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to upload. Whoops. I don't know if I can do it like this. Let's see how the other guys did it. Drag and drop. Is feature detection. Okay, fun stuff. Add class. Okay, we don't. Ooh, right here. Here are the files. That's good. So in this tutorial, they went through all the files. And then it's files, dropped files. Okay, we want to get this. New form data. And then it's gonna append the name and the file itself. So if we look at f that we console.log just now, f has a file.name. So this would be f.name files. Cool. And then I send it. Let's see if this works. Oh, the API. This is the API. The API is called files. API/files. Okay, that looks good. So now on my server.js, I need to do app.post /API/files, request, response. And for this, I need a library called Multer. So let's do Multer. npm install save Multer. Okay, Multer is installed. So now that we have Multer, we need to create this upload object. I'm going to pass in the destination. Okay, but for destination, we want to put it in public folder. Okay, and here upload.any. For any files, we want to do that. Const return response.json. We send back files. upload.array. I use upload.any. Let's see if upload.any works. Nope, it doesn't work. It needs to be array. Not find module express. Okay, now I'm going to try uploading some stuff. I'm gonna upload 2 files and I get an error. Let's look at the request. It's cool. So in the request payload, it actually sent the data. Get all this image data. Cool. And then our server doesn't know how to, doesn't understand the request. It's annoying. So now we need to do multer. We need to figure out what's going on. How am I sending form data? Okay. Multer from data. Maybe somebody on the internet knows. Uploading a file of form data and multer. Form data.append track file to upload upload.name. So it's track. So maybe this should not be f.name. F.name goes at the end. And this should be a string called files at index. Maybe I need to append all of the files, and then in my server it's array and I call it files. Maybe that will work. I'm hopeful. Let's see. Refresh the page. Cross my fingers. Send the request. Ah, 500 again. Unexpected field. Okay. Here's a working example. This guy made a working example. Form data.append track file.name, and then it opens the request, which means it uploads it and it sends it. And then the router code you provided. So let me zoom this in so you guys can see. Here's the router code he provided. Multer.disk storage. Okay. Upload.array track. Maybe I need to do something like this. It's not good. So for sending the request, I might need that. What other people are doing. shr. I'm gonna append track. Let's just do one. Let's try to go to files 2. And this would be one single. Let's see if this one works. So form data. I'm using the code I found online. So I create a new form data, I create an SHR, and then this should be files at index 0, files at index 0.name, so the first file. And then I'm gonna send a request to /API/files2. So I'm gonna send a request here to see if that works. And then I send form data 2. Okay, so this is copy and paste it from the internet. Let's see if the internet does it better than I do. Boom. Nothing even happened. No form data. Oh, it's form data 2. Sorry for the false alarm. Grab files here. Network. Whoa, this one actually worked out. 200. But this one get an error? So to be sure, I restarted the server. Now I'm going to upload a file, and it got 200, and it got an error. The one at the bottom got an error, but the one at the top was okay, with no response. So in the post, so for this one, I'm just not going to send this. Then console.log best.file request.file. Upload to. Wow, look at that original name. The files are there. Here's the file. Wow, that is so cool. And it has an image. So if I look at Js5, challenge 5, public folder, I have these new files. Why do I have 3 files? What? This one, oh, those were from before. Okay. Okay, cool. So now I know how to upload a file, but unfortunately, I need to upload an array of files. So instead of appending trec, let's see if I can go through each of these files and append at least a list of these files. and then send it, and then this is called files. Let's see if this works. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna send 500. So multer send array of files. So we figured out how to send one file. We haven't figured out how to send multiple files. So keep doing uploading one file. That is like the one file is simple. Multiple files with multer. There you go. Alright, payload.append. Yes. Array. It needs to do upload.array, which we are doing. Call it files. Maybe this whole array thing is wrong. I just do that. Maybe that would just work. So let's try this. 500 headers. The request, I am sending multiple files. But the response, multer error, unexpected field. How to fix? Yes, please tell me how to fix this. Doesn't work. Yes, it just doesn't work. Single. Oh. Single works, we know that. Unexpected field array. Array image. Too many files? What? I'm just looking at all the issues other people are having. See if another person has the same issues as me. This tutorial sucks. Let's look at the documentation. Maybe I'm using it wrong. Array of photos 12. Maybe I need to specify how many. Oh, there isn't any. Let's try any. Yay, 200. Undefined. So I'm gonna put in 2 files again. 200 field name track. Okay. Only 1 file got uploaded. What is going on? Oh, maybe I didn't refresh the page. Could that be? So I'm gonna send 2 files. Okay, files. Field name is files. Cool. Now I got 2. I got 2 files. So that's good. So now let's clean this up. I'm wondering if my original code would work. Let's comment this out. And then let's go to append just the file's key name. And then I'm going to use fetch. Refresh the page. Let's see if the original code works. And that seems to work too. Yeah, see, I got 2 files. That's good. So I don't need all this XHR stuff. What I had before worked. So I was stuck for about 10 minutes, or maybe even 30. What I needed to do was upload.any. Any right here. And I don't need any of this. Okay. Let's double check. Cool. That work? Let's double check again. I got no response. And nothing happened. Oh, it's request.files. Because the files is coming from the request. Getting the files. Now I need to change the file name. Right now, if you look at the file name here, the file name are a little bit hard to recognize. So all these file names are very strange. So remove all the files that starts with 2. Remove all the files that starts with 4. Remove all the files that starts with B. Remove 313. Remove 711. Remove A8. Remove D88. Okay, so I just removed all of the files. Now I want to check the file name. Okay, so storage. I need to do it like that. That's how I create the upload. So instead of doing it like this, I need to create a storage object where the destination is my public folder. And then the file name is going to be date.now plus a random number where file.fieldName unique suffix. What about file.originalName? So file dot original name. I'm going to use date.now and add a original name to it. Const. Now let me try uploading. Upload 2 files. Then my public folder is going to have the timestamp and the file name. So that's good. Okay. So now if I'm looking at this, I finished the uploading part. My server has the uploaded files. And now I need to do image recognition. So I need to use the tesseract library. Let's see what that is. Here's an image. You could do a Chinese. I can take a Chinese picture and send it. Do a Russian picture and send it. That's cool. So I'm going to recognize and fire path to image. Okay, so I need to install tesseract.js. So saving tesseract.js. Okay, now I can start my server. Alright, so for each file, so rec.files.for each. If there's no files, then what I'm going to do is const if rec.files.length, then I would return status 400. No files uploaded. I want to put this inside an error object actually. So for each file, I'm going to run tesseract.recognize. Here's the path to the file, which is public. Then file name. And the file name is called there's a dot path here. So we just use the dot path. So f.path. Okay. .then data. Console.log data. So let's try to see if this tesseract stuff works, and then we'll send back some information. So let's see this tesseract stuff in action. So I'm gonna upload a file that looks like this. Maybe tesseract could help me break this down. So I'm gonna drag it. Okay. And then That's it. Ooh. Tesseract seems to have done its job. Okay. I don't know what any of this is, but these look really cool. So, wow, it gives you a job ID too, and it gives you the data. But we get these too late. So I need a UUID to create a random ID. And that would be here. UUID helps me generate a random ID. I need that for the job ID and for the files. So UUID is v4 and then UUID v4. So instead of using date.now, I should really be using UUID4. Run that. And then I also have const jobs equals an object. Then jobs at const job, I create a new job ID. And once I have a job ID, then I request, it goes here, and then I send back a JSON. And I say job ID is that. And then when it's done, when it has the data, then const job equals jobs index job ID or an empty array. So I check if the job.length is equal. So first I push the data into jobs, so job.push data. And then I check if the job array, how many files it's processed. If the number of files processed is equal to the request.files, we know we are done. Right? So if we know we are done, so we need an object with a status. So job ID, jobs index, job ID equals an object, and status is well, ready is false, and then process is an empty array. So now when I get the job, it's going to be exist and then job.processed.push data. So the process data I push into job, and if job.processed.length is equal to the number of files, then job.ready equals true, and yeah, then the job is ready. So here's the job ID. Now I just have to get the job ID, app.get jobs, then job ID, and then job ID would do plus response rest.json. So if I want to get the status of the job, I would send back jobs at const job equals jobs at index that, and then I check if there's no job, then I return rest.status 400. 4 error no job. Okay. Otherwise, I do rest.json job. Cool. So now I think I am done. To test it out, let's run it. And in this case, I'm going to be uploading this file, and another file would be this file. This file is a little bit harder to process. So maybe a different file. I can't find a different file, so yeah, let's see if this two files work, how well it works. So refresh the page. I'm going to upload these two files. And then here's the job ID. And then the URL I need to go to is jobs and then jobs ID. So cerny.com/jobs, job ID. That's a lot of data. So I think the computer is trying to figure out how to display it. But I don't know if you can see ready is false, processed, job ID, and it says text, write preview, good job, this is great, but const temp equal. Let me show you the actual image. The actual image says good job, but this is great, but const temp equal blah blah blah. So whatever this image, whatever text this image has, showed up here. So that was pretty cool. And I don't know what the rest of the data is, but if I ever have a project where I need to get the text out from an image, I can just use this tool and then copy out the data here. Cool. So I am now done with this. Git status. Git add. So I'm going to remove git add index. Git add server. So I just need server and index. Oh, I also need package.json to show what packages are installed. Everything else I don't need. Solves problem 7 of Js5. And then, so I'm gonna, it's too difficult to delete this one by one, so I'm just going to delete the whole folder and then bring them back by doing git checkout -f. So now I have nothing to commit. I'm ready to submit. So this is Js5 Problem 7. Hit submit. Okay. So let's make sure that I have my index.html for the drag and drop, and then I also have the file upload. And then I have the recognize to push the job. Yeah. So I did this, I did that, and I did that, and this is done. Oh, response status should be 202. Okay. So I need to do 202. Rest.status 202. Then the URL should be sunny.com API jobs, just jobs, job ID. So the users know where to go to. It, this changes or updates job creation response status code to 202. So I'm submitting. I just submitted the problem. Now I have 10 minutes left. So selfie queen. I'll be building an application where users can go to my website and take a picture. They take a picture. So git checkout E8. Make sure I'm in sync with the master branch. Create challenge 8 folder. Wait. So there's something wrong here. Previously I did challenge 5. It should be challenge 7. This should be challenge 7. So move challenge 5, challenge 7. Moves challenge 5 folder. To challenge 7. Show the challenge number. Okay. Now I can go back to problem 8. Create a public folder. So this problem is going to be pretty simple. The browser would take a picture and then send file data to the server, and the server would save it. So that's it, I think. So save the data. See all the pictures that he has ever taken. Okay. So I require the express library. Create the express app. make the public folder static. Listen 3057. Then now going to go to the index.html. Then I'm going to do selfie queen. And then now I need to start the server. Challenge 8. Cool. So for selfie queen, all the information is here. So I'm going to just paste it in so I can refer to it easily. So get users webcam by calling navigator.getUsersMedia. So navigator.mediadevices.getUserMedia, and it I want to get video true, audio true, which returns a promise. So .then media. Actually, audio is false because we only want to take the pictures. This one is done. Video stream, video element. So video. And video has no source. We want this video to autoplay. And then classes, selfie. And then what I want to do is selfie.source is equal to media stream so people can see my video. So now if we go to cerny.com, it asks me if I want to show my video camera. So I hit allow. Where's the video? Video. So source, this is not right. Source object. Like this. Video.sourceObject. Let's try this again. Yay. My video shows up. Yeah. Okay, when the user clicks on the snap button, so we need a snap button. So when the user clicks on the snap button, I need to take an image of the video. So let's make the video smaller. So let's make this width of 200 pixels, height 200 pixels. Cool. And then we need a canvas. Picture. So I need to do context equals canvas dot. So context equals picture dot context 2D. This is like a toothbrush. I need this to draw. So every time I click snap dot add event listener, click. Every time I click, I want to draw the image. So text dot draw image. The video selfie 0, 0. Draw the image. Let's see if that works. So take a picture. Oh, I drew the image. Yeah. It's just really small. So this canvas needs to have a width of 640 pixels. Now, if I take a picture, there is something wrong with the canvas, but I will fix that tomorrow. This marks the end of today's video. See you tomorrow.